Let's go! After a long day, I finally get to sit down and play some Valorant, enjoy some games, and you know what? My favorite thing to do, the first thing that I do when I launch Valorant is I unequip all of my skins and I go through and I pick the ones that I want to use for the day. Let's start with the Vandal. Today, I'm kind of feeling the Forsaken Vandal. Why are you guys booing? Booing? No, I know why you guys are booing. It's because I don't have this variant, right? Come on. All right, here, we'll pick something else. There we go, yeah? What? Come on, it's so cool. Is it the variant thing? Still you're booing? This skin is overrated. In the wake of games like Overwatch, Team Fortress 2, and Rainbow Six Siege, not delivering in terms of content, competitive integrity, and just overall upkeep, while Riot hasn't been perfect, they've strived for perfection. Say what you will about the game, but at a minimum, Valorant doesn't have hackers, it's updated regularly, there's very rarely bugs, and this is me speaking with the bar very, very low in gaming right now. And while Riot sought out to solely focus on the competitive integrity of their game, they were also able to captivate a cult following through skins and cosmetic items in their game. These skins have made a dangerous amount of money, but some skins in particular have made a little bit too much money. And today, I'm gonna rank them. I'm urnotjustin, and these are the most overrated skins in Valorant. I would like to preface this video by saying that I own every single skin in the game, and I love every single skin in the game. But with that in mind, the Reaver is the worst skin in this entire game, and you can all fight me for it. Okay, by no means is it the worst skin in the entire game, but it is very, very much overrated. While this list is in no order in particular, Old Reliable could unofficially be considered to be number 1. And to specify, I'm talking about the entire Reaver collection, but specifically the Vandal. A skin collection in Valorant dating all the way back to the beta, leave it to Reaver to be considered the most popular skin in the community. Everyone owns it. Every time your team's insta-lock Jet dashes in and dies, everybody is chomping at the bits to pick up the Reaver Vandal. But why? When the Reaver collection first came out, it cost 7,100 Valorant points. But that doesn't matter, because you only care about the Vandal. The Vandal itself is only 1,775 Valorant points. And while the price alone is a steal for what you get, 3 variants, a really cool reload animation, the Taco Bell gong sound effect when you eliminate somebody.
One enemy remaining.
That's 3.
I think that there's a lot to be said about the quality of the entire Reaver collection when only one of the 8 items is owned by 3/4 of the server that you're playing in. What's this? You didn't know that the Reaver collection had 8 items in it? No, seriously, it's true. It actually has 8 items in it. Be honest. Have you ever seen anybody with any of these 3 items equipped? My answer, after 1,500 hours, never seen any of it once. Swear to God, I've seen more Riot buddies than I've seen this stuff. Low-key though, the spray is actually kind of fire. It's a shame nobody has it. The Reaver collection, specifically the Reaver Vandal, has sold a lot of units for a very good reason. It's cool, it's reliable, for a decent price. But what makes it overrated is the saturation from the sheer amount of Reaver Vandals that are in every single game. It's simply just an edgelord gun for people with names like this. And the TLDR of why the Reaver is overrated is that everybody owns a pair of white Air Forces. Everybody loves white Air Forces. But at the end of the day, white Air Forces are simply for people who can only afford 1 pair of shoes. That is what the Reaver is. Reliable, cool enough, ultimately overrated. And while the Reaver Vandal is practically free because of how easy it is to just pick up off the ground, this next entrant for overrated skins in Valorant is somewhat of a hot commodity. You guessed it, I'm talking about the Champions Collection. The Champions Collection came out at a time where VCT was in the thick of it, and Valorant needed a way to capitalize and maximize their earnings. So what do? Of course, they release a VCT themed collection. A 2-skin collection that cost 6,263 Valorant points. Yay. With 6 items in total, 3 player cards, a title, and 2 skins, the Champions Collection comes in as one of the most overrated collections to ever exist in the game on several fronts. You heard me go on a long rant about how there's too much of the Reaver. Well, on the opposition, it's because it's a really great skin collection, and it's cheap, and it rotates into the store. All of which cannot be said about the Champions Collection. Don't get me wrong, the Champions Collection is totally charming for what it is, but the price is just so abysmal at 6,263 Valorant points, and it doesn't justify itself by any means. The physical skin itself does not bring any new elements to the table, and I would argue that this is a glorified rush skin. And yeah, the Champion's aura is cool, but you have to pay the additional Radianite for it when this collection is already through the roof in price. And of course, it has that really cool finisher that you never get to look at because there's not enough time to get it to work. It's just a glowing golden version of the default Vandal. And let's not even get started on the knife. The knife is a toddler knife. This is something that you could legally order on Amazon right now. I actually had it equipped recently, and I just didn't like having it because it's just so tiny and it makes me feel like small. When you have another really expensive collection like the Spectrum collection that comes out that's hyped up by a celebrity music star, and in itself is a full-fledged collection with multiple weapons, sprays, buddies, variants, finishers, all while being able to play music while you inspect it, leaves me wondering why we funded the VCT prize pool with an overrated, watered-down version of the Spectrum in the form of a Vandal and a very tiny baby knife. This list is going to become only more controversial, and I apologize for it. Remember that this is all in good fun, but next up for the most overrated skins in Valorant, or should I say most overrated items in Valorant, is the Riot Gun Buddy. All right, you know, put your pitchforks away. I own the Riot Gun Buddy, and it is totally cool, and it is in a lot of ways worth the hype, but it is a little bit overrated when you think about it. I remember the first time that I ever saw the Riot Gun Buddy, and I was so fascinated and enamored with it. This item that was only intended to ever be for Riot employees, for whatever reason, made its way into the general population of gamers. And in a game like Valorant, where for the most part, anybody can buy any skin if they have the money, having a very ordinary Valorant cosmetic like a Gun Buddy only be achievable by knowing somebody, gave this Gun Buddy way too much credibility and way too much clout. I was one of the first people to actually cover what the Riot Gun Buddy was, and later on I kind of made a meme where people thought that there was a Riot knife that existed. And because of all the hype that surrounded it from the views that I was able to generate and others, along with the already existing mystique of the Riot Gun Buddy, people in droves started finding out the developers of the game, figuring out all their social medias, trying to hunt down which server that they played on Valorant, and ultimately harassing all of them to no end. One of the most annoying things about being a Valorant content creator is the never-ending barrage of DMs that I get asking me for skins from people who have never ever met me, talked to me, or know me at all on any kind of personal level. And when I don't respond to these DMs, then I get told that I'm a bad content creator and that I'm a terrible person and they make fun of me. And this is exactly what happens to all of the Riot developers, simply because of a gun buddy that exists in the game. I get that the Riot Gun Buddy is sort of an emblem for rarity, but that rarity is sort of tainted when the only way to get it is by harassing somebody for it. And really, the Riot Gun Buddy is just a free gun buddy. That's all that it is. When there's a free Amazon gaming gun buddy that comes out, everybody complains about it and says, oh boy, they'd never give us skins. So what makes the Riot Gun Buddy special? Which is why it made this list for one of the most overrated items in the entire game. Next up on the list of the most overrated skins in Valorant is something that's surely going to get me sent to the depths of hell, the Prime Karambit. As tempting as it was to include some other stuff from the Prime collection on this list, it is absolutely not included. I think that Prime is a very solid collection and that it stands the test of time even till this day. But something that I could just never get behind was the Prime Karambit. Yes, it's cool. Yes, it's a Karambit, but not quite. The Prime box cutter came out as a part of the Prime 2 collection, which included a Phantom, an Odin, a Bucky, and a Frenzy. All for the fair old price of 7,100 Valorant points. And what was expected to be an S-tier knife slowly turned into a shocking, bitter surprise. When you upgraded the Prime Karambit, we were greeted with a fold-out animation. And as somebody who was playing when this came out, people were furious. Valorant players from all throughout the community were wondering how they could refund their money. A good majority of them, including myself, upgraded it without actually checking to see what the animation was. And for a year, until we got the option to unupgrade stuff, we were stuck with that animation. Unless you were one of the pro gamers that had the great idea to just not upgrade it. The sheer amount of bragging rights that a lot of people thought that they had when they had an unupgraded Karambit was astounding. Every other game when that first came out, people would roast me for having the upgraded Karambit. And while I fully agreed that the fold-out animation is not that great, and fun fact, it's not a box cutter animation, it's actually inspired by real life fold-out Karambits. Simply because of the scenario, both versions of the Karambit are kind of bad. If you have it upgraded, then you have a terrible animation, but you get really cool, pretty lights and sounds. But if it's unupgraded, it's dull, the colors are less bright because there's no lights, it kind of just clanks around, looks like it's gonna fall apart, all at the cost of having it unupgraded because of not liking the animation. If you have it upgraded or unupgraded, you're going to be missing something regardless. And that's why it made this list of the most overrated skins in Valorant. And the last thing on this list of the most overrated skins in Valorant, anything that has finishers. I know that it's kind of a broad way to end this video off with this talking point. I felt this way for quite a while, especially doing content creation and kind of having all eyes on me depending on what skins I'm using. The times I get the most comments criticizing my collections and skins that I use, and the videos I get the least views, always involve skins that don't have finishers, let alone variants. And by no means is this a knock to skins with finishers, because they are really cool and they do add a really great dimension of cosmetic layer to the game. But I just personally feel that they're overrated in regards to people will look at way too much other skins and say that they're bad simply because they don't have finishers. no matter how cool it is that they are. And I would even argue that some of my most favorite skins in the entire game have no upgrades whatsoever. There is a valid point to the pricing of this, and I totally understand that, but without considering the price, some of my favorite skins in the entire game are stuff like the Horizon Vandal, the Nebula Phantom. The Lux Vandal is probably one of my all-time favorite skins in the entire game. It's so cool, it's so clean, but people don't like it because it doesn't have finishers or effects or anything. It just is what it is. And even on the upper end, I've seen people criticize a collection like the Recon collection, saying that, oh, this doesn't have finishers and this is terrible, blah, blah, blah. For a skin to be S tier, it doesn't need to have finishers. And that's a hill I'm willing to die on. But let me know what you guys thought of my most overrated skins video. And like it if you enjoyed, I would really appreciate it. As always, I'm Justin, and you're not. Subscribe if you're new, click the bell for notifications so you don't miss a single video ever, even if you're using underrated skins. Like the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Love ya.